In this lesson, we're going to be adding some text to our trigger buttons, and it's going to be some extruded text. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's work on the right trigger if we're looking at it from the top. And just to make things a little easier, I'm going to take the color off of here. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is we want to shell this, because if we try to shell this after the text has been put on here, it probably won't work. So let's shell this face here. And we can make this 0.09. Looks good. So if you look at this from the back view, you can see we're looking at it straight on. And in order to use sketch text, we need to start with a horizontal line. I'll choose a center line. And we start right on the front plane. And I'm just going to draw a line about here. And let's open up the sketch text icon here under the sketch tab. And the curve, or the line that it wants you to start on, will be the one we just drew. And then the text will be either an R or the word right. Let's just do right. And if it's upside down and backwards, that's okay. We can just click these buttons here, and it should flip the text around. And let's make this centered. And if you don't like the text, we can use the font that it gives us, or what we can do is actually use a different text within their text library. So I'd like to choose a nice bold text. This one looks okay. And we can change the points to different sizes. So we have here. And if that's okay, you can hit the check. And now we can move this around, and you can see that it's centered. It likes to keep it centered on this line. So if we move this line too short, you can see it cuts the text off. And that's the one thing about having a centered sketch text, is making sure this line length doesn't change. So we can just throw a simple dimension on here. And now we should be able to move this around without it affecting the text. So now that we have our text, we can choose the extrude button, and we can do an offset from surface. Choose this face here, reverse. We can do this at 0.02, make it quite shallow. And the sketch plane from the from icon, or from the from dialog box, we can leave this as it is, and we can cut this off later, or we could try to extrude it from a surface on the inside here. So you can see now I have text being extruded from this surface and then offset from this surface on the outside. Every now and then it doesn't really like it, so you can see it's having some trouble. If it doesn't, that's okay. You can just choose blind. And you have to keep playing with the arrows to make sure it's going the right way. So let's unmerge this. Hit the check. So now we're clean on the inside, but now the outside's too far. So let's offset this surface to 0.02. And we're going to cut the text with it. Let's make sure this arrow is pointing the right way. Hit the check. You can hide the surface. And now we have some sketch text that's been extruded into a word on our trigger. So the final step would be to merge these. And that's it. Let's throw some last minute fillets on here. Point 1 actually looks pretty good. And we'll save this. Let's see how it looks in the assembly. Not bad. So remember, you can always go back and edit the sketch text if you want, if this doesn't look very good at all. So if we wanted this to have a more modern font, that's okay. We can go back. You can see the sketch here. We can edit the sketch. We can double click on the sketch text itself, and it brings us back to this menu. So now I can change the font. Let's choose something a little nicer. Century Gothic's pretty good. I hit the check. So you can see it didn't exactly update appropriately. We can go back to the surface cut. Looks like we just need to reselect the H here, and that's it. If it keeps playing around like this, it's best just to undo everything, go back, reselect each letter, hit the check, and you can see there's no edge here, but there's an edge here. So the combine didn't combine all the letters. Let's make sure those are combined as well. Much better. Not bad. So that's how you actually put sketch text on a part. We can do this in reverse. We can actually have the text go inside as well. And that would just be a reverse order of what we just did. So in the next lesson, we're going to learn how to create a lip and groove between the upper half and the lower half of the controllers.